The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Business Zone. It is Friday, April 19th, and we are here on happy Good Friday, and we have Easter right around the corner, and we have an amazing show today. So, and we have callers coming in. We got a couple of guests coming in, and it's going to be a fun and exciting show. This is April, is Black Business Month, so everything is going to be we're going to be talking about and have been talking about for this month has been on building and creating successful businesses, creating economic development in our community. We talked about earlier in this month Nipsey Hussle and what that young man created in just a very short period of time. So I want to say to my business owners that have been out there struggling in the trenches for the last 30 years, there is an easier way to do what you do, and it's about learning and finding mentors to help you grow yourself and your business. So you guys need to take a lesson and listen to some of his I spent a lot of time this week listening to a number of his interviews, and I was so impressed. And I had to ask myself, who was this young man's mentor? And because I have a lot of mentors and have learned from some of the great ones out there, reading and listening to audiobooks, and I realized that some of the individuals that I follow, he also followed. And so there's really so much information and so much content out there, and we have the internet. So there's really no excuse for not being able to seek out what you need. If you don't know, you should feel empowered and encourage yourself to go out there and find that information. That young man did, and I know there are a number of us that are college educated that probably took a different path than he did, and he didn't use excuses. He just changed what he did and how he did it, and he did that by listening to individuals that had already gone down that journey, and then I think he just had a proclivity for business, and so I think you guys can do that as well. But here we are, Friday, on the 19th. We got so much going on. Washington is completely crazy. There's some things going on that I don't even get. The way I was raised is wrong is wrong and right is right. And we didn't make excuses about it. We didn't justify it. It wasn't allowed. And it seems that in this new America that we're living in, we justify wrong. And we seem to have lost our ethics and our morality. And I know God has a plan, and maybe this is part of the disruption in order to bring us back to normality. So I hope it comes quickly, because it's a little stressful. Last night, guys, I went to the Whitney M. Young awards dinner, and I had an absolutely awesome time. The Los Angeles Urban League just put on a spectacular event. They honored a number of individuals. They honored a number of individuals that just, oh my God. One of their main honorees was Byron Allen. He had such an incredible story, how he got started and how the Urban League was important to him, because when he came to this city from Detroit, and you guys all know Byron Allen, right? He owns about 48 networks and movies, and he just recently purchased the Weather Channel. He told his story of how he did that. He also told the story of how when he came from Detroit. It was right after Martin Luther King had been killed, and his mom wanted to get away because it was just crazy. And they came to California, and they were supposed to be coming for 1 week. They brought one suitcase, and the next thing he knew that they were living here. And they had to get a job, so his mom had to get a job. So she went to the Los Angeles Urban League, and they gave her her first job, and that first job happened to be at NBC, and she didn't have a babysitter because she didn't know anyone here, and so she took him with her, and he hung around the sets, and that was the beginning of his love for the entertainment industry and making movies, and comedy all came from. And since that time, and we know what happened after that. So he's a very wealthy man, but he has made a commitment to helping the community. He said even when he purchased the Weather Channel, he was thinking in his head, what would this do for my community? How would they see such an opportunity that it's possible they could do the same thing. So they were trying to obviously push him out, and he refused to be pushed out. And he put an offer on the table that they could not resist. And when he did that, they looked at him like he was crazy. But he said, I eliminated all competition at that point. And today he owns the Weather Channel. And he said he could have walked away from it, but he felt that for people, that we have to see more successes, and we have to be visual and visible with our successes, so people feel that there's something that they can hope for and they can reach for. Just, he was funny. I knew about him when he was younger, didn't know much about what was going on in his world since that time, but I like what he was saying last night, and there was just so many people there that had the same message. He indicated that he spoke to Coretta Scott King, and that was when he changed how he thought about his people and his community, and it helped set him on a path to success. And so he's made a commitment to the Urban League to get involved and to make sure that that more of our people have those opportunities, and some of those opportunities that he had and that his mother had. So that was pretty awesome. This weekend we have some we have some great networking events going on. Dr. George Frazier's in town. He was here last night. I hear he just rocked the house at the City Club last night. And he will be today at Jamaica Bay Inn, and it starts at 5:30 this evening. And so he's going to take it up another notch. He too is economic development and creating legacy wealth, all the things that we need to be having this conversation 24/7. And so I'm just pleased that and I get an opportunity today to MC that event, and so I'll be leaving straight from here to there. And it's good to be around people that speak about us as a people, and knowing that we have such potential of growth, and that sometimes we just need a little bit of guidance. So I'm excited about that. So today, guys, on our show, and we're waiting for Gilbert to come in. He's coming in and we haven't seen him in a little minute. So we're kind of excited for him to get in the studio. He has been working on some projects and some contracts that he's trying to secure, so we don't stand in the way of the brothers making money, because that's important that we can make some money. And so he's coming in today. But today we have as our guest, we have a young lady calling in from Atlanta, and she should be calling in shortly, or Skyping in, I hope. And she is dominating the security and surveillance industry in Atlanta. So we want to find out how she's doing that, and how we can be of help to her, and how and just basically let everybody know that there's a young woman that's killing it in the security and surveillance industry. So you can never say what you can't do. because there's all kinds of opportunities out there for you. And then I have another young lady that's in the house, and she has a logistics company, a supply chain. So again, things that women don't normally do, but that's phenomenal. And she does a lot of work with the African diaspora, so we're going to find out about that. And then we have a gentleman in the house. He too is all about economic development. He has a school specifically for that, and so he's going to tell us about that. So hope you guys are as excited as I am about learning new things and all these great things that are going on within our own community. Sometimes we think that that we're just living in despair and living in lack, and there's no hope and no way to get there, and envious of other people and how they've gotten there, and we just kind of get stuck in where we are, and our status becomes, we have a status quo thing going on, which is really detrimental to our whole entire community. So we are going to see. She's here? Did anybody call? No. Okay. Well, then we'll just keep carrying on until we go on to break. Guys, so I want you to do, this is a save the date. There is a movie that I was talking about a couple of weeks ago. It is called Boss, The Black Experience. And it was, I saw it, it was premiered at the Pan-African Film Fest in February. Was that February? Yeah, February. It was awesome. And it talks about how we as a people, when we were emancipated from slavery, so to speak, before the ink was dried on the Emancipation Proclamation, we had started businesses. We had started to prosper. And then, of course, we know the story of Black Wall Street, but it was a Black Wall Street all across the country, not just in Oklahoma. It was all across the country. So this movie, or this documentary, is showing you exactly what we had done, and therefore what we are capable of doing. It is really an awesome documentary. So it is going to be airing on April 23rd on PBS, so whatever your PBS channel is. Mine is KCOE, and I'm not quite about yours, but check your local listings for the public access or PBS, and it is 8 o'clock on April 23rd. You have to watch it. Bring your kids in. They need to see it, because it was pretty phenomenal what we did. And we know about Black Wall Street, but I didn't know about Durham, South Carolina. There was just so many places. But again, what was the low point for me was every time we took 5 steps forward and someone from the outside realized what we were doing, pulling ourselves up by the bootstraps, which is what they always are telling us to do. You guys can make this happen. Everybody else can do it. Why can't you? And then we pulled ourselves up by the bootstraps, and they knocked us back down. But it didn't stop us. We kept getting up, and we kept doing it. And then we are where we are today. And I guess at some point we just, you can bang your head up against the wall so often, and then you lose your steam and your stamina. But check out that movie. There's some interesting individuals that are doing some across the country, doing some amazing things with some amazing opportunities for us, and we just need to take advantage of them. So check it out. So it's going to be on the 23rd of this month, and it's on PBS at 8 p.m., and it's called Boss, The Black Experience. So check it out, okay? So we're going to go to a quick break. My co-host has come in, and so we want to bring him in because he hasn't been here for a while, and I'm sure he has something he wants to share with us. Come on in, Gilbert, and we'll take a quick break.
Small businesses spend more than $500 million each year combined trying to find missing or replace missing paperwork. Hey, small businesses, are you tired of losing out on business opportunities because your paperwork is not in order? And don't you hate having to register in multiple websites just to find a single procurement opportunity that may not even be worth your time? Well, worry no more. Small Biz Pro is the solution to your problems. Small Biz Pro is an all-in-one cloud-based business management, compliance, and procurement assistance software platform that keeps small businesses organized, contract-ready, bank loan-ready, with quick access to procurement opportunities, as well as market research data. Here are some of the features and benefits that you receive when you use Small Biz Pro to run your business daily. Superior record keeping at your fingertips. Back office management and compliance. Quick access to bids and procurement opportunities in government databases. It allows you to conduct easy market research and gather industry statistics. Government certification preparedness and compliance checklists. Easy HR and general operations management functionality. Bank loan readiness preparation and cash flow management. Certified payroll and labor compliance reporting. Business dictionary with defined business terms. A cloud-based business management platform that keeps small businesses organized and ready. Even nonprofits. Business documents securely stored in the cloud. Data fully encrypted and protected by triple firewall reinforcements. On-the-spot document retrieval for quick decision-making. Bank-level data security for compliance. Document expiration alerts and advanced notifications. It uses security restrictions to block out unauthorized users. And much more. Try it out today for only $5 for the first 30 days. What are you waiting for? Go to www.smallbizpro.net and register now, or your competitors will. Small Biz Pro, keeping small businesses organized, business ready, and contract ready. Subcontractors and small businesses are very good at performing their craft. But when it comes to managing their paperwork and efficiently running their business, not so much. That is why Buchanan & Associates, a multiple award-winning supplier diversity business management, technical support, coaching, and compliance firm is here to help you. Buchanan & Associates possesses core competencies in small business paperwork and government compliance, back office management and business support, business infrastructure and organizational development, light rail transportation program management, assisting small businesses in packaging and submitting their minority, woman-owned, and disadvantaged business enterprise certifications. We even match you up with contract opportunities. Buchanan & Associates has delivered more than 7,500 hours of training to subcontractors by preparing them to become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready with the ability to quickly access key documents in seconds. Buchanan & Associates helps subcontractors accurately prepare, manage, and submit certified payroll, contract compliance, and labor compliance reports to primes so that they can get paid on time without delays. If you need to meet your disadvantaged business or small business enterprise participation goals, Buchanan & Associates can help you. If you need a qualified and experienced firm to oversee your subcontractors so that you can successfully complete your projects, Buchanan & Associates can help you. We help all businesses organize and set up their company the right way so that they can formally pursue contracts. Buchanan & Associates has assisted subcontractors and primes secure more than $90 million in contract awards. What are you waiting for? Contact Buchanan & Associates today, the small business paramedic. Go to www.thebuchanangroup.net and begin saving now.
And welcome back to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert.
That's right.
And Gilbert's been
I've been MIA
for a minute, but I told him that you were out doing some stuff, securing some money.
Trying to make money for the show.
And some contracts, so that was a good thing. Well, welcome back. I'm glad to have you back.
Thank you, my co-host.
So we have a young lady here in the studio that she has been a friend of Recycling Black Dollars for a very long time.
Very nice.
Since the beginning.
Since the very beginning.
All right.
And she's had, you've been in this logistic business or shipping business for a while, right?
For a while.
2010.
Okay,
2010.
So now, Khalifa Matt Bay, right?
Khalifa Ma'at
Oh,
Bay.
okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Is president and COO of South Los Angeles Logistics, a 3PL company that integrates and manages all logistic services of complex supply chain. The company's mission is to facilitate the exchange of goods and services. What happened? Goods and services between the sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, the Caribbean, and the U.S. through bilateral trade and investment. She has 35 years administrative experience in managing detailed coordination of complex operations involving people, facilities, and suppliers, and her knowledge of navigating federal, state, and local court jurisdictions while organizing the flow of documentation from origin to disposition, and it has given her the foundation and skills and expertise to lead her company into the 21st century global economy. You're very passionate about being Black.
You know, that's how. Yes. What else would I want to be?
Right. I was coming out of the elevator yesterday after the dinner at the Urban League. And of course, you know, everybody had just had such a wonderful time. And one lady, we get in the elevator and we're going down. And it's all us in the elevator. And she goes, I just love being Black.
Absolutely. That melanin has its magic.
And we were like, yes, right on. And proud to say that we're proud to be Black.
Absolutely.
She said that melanin has the magic. I love it.
It's the magic. And once we understand who we are as a people and the original people, let's start with that. We're the original people on this planet. And we have to own that.
Yeah.
Yes,
I own it.
Yeah.
You own it.
I'm not apologizing for it.
Well, you shouldn't.
Ever.
You shouldn't have to.
So welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank you for
Welcome to the
having me.
Business Zone.
The Business Zone. You have taken a journey to get here, though, right?
I have. My journey has been wonderful.
Okay.
Getting to the Business Zone, but just the journey of being a entrepreneur in Los Angeles, because I was born and raised here.
Okay.
So I was born and raised Central Avenue.
Oh, okay. So that's real big. That's real Black folk.
Absolutely. Because that's
the
where
real
we
Black
started.
people.
I'm an East Side girl.
So
Okay.
as you know, entrepreneurship is a journey, right?
Yes, it is.
And every journey has a story. So let's hear your story. How you got started, why you chose this field, and how is it working out for you?
I got started. I was a legal secretary for 35 years. And I decided when I turned 50, I could no longer do that. I grew up on Perry Mason. And I always used to watch Della Street.
Okay.
Della went to the courtroom. Della went to lunch. Della was at the dinner. You know,
Della did everything.
Yeah, Della was there. So I'm like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
And that started my journey to being a legal secretary. So I spent 35 years in the field. And then my time was up. And on my 50th birthday, I handed in my notice.
I hear that.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And because of my experience, you know, facilitating court and learning jurisdictions, I was able to work in different practice groups. And I had the opportunity to work for an attorney that was in international trade. And in fact, he was an attorney that was working on NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. You know,
I'm intimately familiar with
that. So that was the beginning. And also, 35 years ago, FedEx was just starting. UPS, DHL was just starting. So it was just a matter of filling out the form. And you sent documents or freight from point A to point B. So as I was coming out of corporate, I said, what can I do that's going to utilize the 35 years experience? How was I going to make it people friendly? Because corporate, you're restricted. And it was time for me to walk away because I wasn't going to be restricted anymore. And it had to be people friendly, and then it had to be international. It had to be global. Because I saw, as a secretary, I was reading Time. I was reading Wall Street Journal on a daily basis. And I said, okay.
And then I started, my people over there, what do they need? So I opened up a boxes, packing, and shipping store on Central Avenue.
When was that? What year?
2010. And I wanted to be home. I wanted to be on Central Avenue, so had a spot. And I started shipping, small packages. And I was going Bulgaria, people were coming in.
How was that, though? How was that experience? Because you are entering into a field that is dominated by the other culture, and you're a little fish in that big pond. So how did that work for you starting out and start doing that project?
I wasn't concerned about other people.
I know.
It was my journey.
Were there blocks or barriers or anything
actually,
that you experienced?
No, not for me. It was just finding out the information, because when you're doing boxes, okay, where do you get the boxes from?
Yeah.
Okay, FedEx, am I going to do FedEx, am I going to do DHL? They give you training on how. I already had the training because I knew how to fill out the form, but it was automated at this point.
Right.
And found a vendor that had the boxes, found a vendor that had the FedEx, that had the equipment. As long as you pay them, they don't really care. So I was able to do that, and just getting clients, just calling, because there was no pack and shipping store in that area. So people were coming.
So who would you call, and how would you go about calling them? Like, would you call a private person or a business? Would you call on another business and say, hey, I'm doing shipping, I can ship your packages for you? Or did you just call residents and say, hey, Christmas, you guys are going to send stuff to family, we can ship it for you?
Networking.
And you also had worked with in an attorney firm that's what they were doing, right?
That's what they were doing.
In international.
So
you kind of knew the ins and outs.
So I knew the ins and outs from being a secretary.
Yeah.
Because the secretary is the gatekeeper.
Oh, for sure.
And you really have more knowledge. It's like the nurse, right, to the doctor.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have the operations workable knowledge.
No, pretty much everything that's going on.
Right. They have the technology and so forth, but you're the operations is you. You're executing.
That's right. Operations manager. That's what I was.
Exactly.
Logistics.
Absolutely. Because it's all about getting an origin and going to a destination, point A to point B, in a nutshell.
And was that profitable?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's just a lot of room for margin.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you're on Central Avenue, which is now both African American and Hispanic, Latino.
Exactly.
And so they're shipping. That's a regular part of their culture, right?
They ship a lot to Mexico and Honduras and all of those areas.
Absolutely.
Right.
So that was pretty much easy. I learned a little bit of Espanol because, when you're dealing in an international environment, you have to understand culture.
For sure.
A lot of people don't understand that. And once you understand the culture, once you understand that people are just people, and you just be kind, where does it need to go?
Yeah.
And you ship it.
Yeah.
So you pick up the lingo, you pick up the language. I was dealing with a company that shipped directly to Mexico. So it's all about partnership. So so it was us, it was Mexicans, then you had a few Europeans. Let me say the right word. No need to say colonizer.
No, I had a great one called Clear People. I've heard that. I've heard some interesting things of late.
And because it's all about money. Money's green.
Yeah.
You don't have to like me. As long as I give you great customer service, you'll be back.
How many employees do you have?
Right now, I just hired on a young lady, high school student.
Yeah.
She's starting to do data entry because that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
I'm a graduate. I'm an alumni of Washington High School, and we had opportunities. That's when we had counselors, and I had internship.
Yeah.
At 18, I was leaving school at 12 o'clock, and I worked at the VA.
Yeah.
Had to be there at 1. Had that job. Then I went to McDonald's, so I was actually working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And our young people need that now. So I started. She's 15.
So you got one employee.
I have one employee right now, and I outsource as well.
Good.
So I have a number of vendors.
Right.
Depending on where the item is going, we can do. I'm a broker.
So you got independent contractors
Independent
that you work
contractors.
with as well.
Exactly.
Now, are you close to the post office down there on Central, or no?
Okay, that was before.
Now she's in Lemert.
Now I'm in Lemert. Now I have an office. I have a warehouse in Compton.
Oh.
And I'm in Lemert because I'm also the ambassador for the Lemert Park Crenshaw Quarter of the LA South Chamber of Commerce. So I have an office is at the We Can Foundation. You guys had Reverend Washington on.
We had him.
Yeah. So I do my operation from there. And anything I need to do, packing and shipping wise, if depending on what the load is, I can call in temporary help, get that out, and make it work. Because it's all about employing our own people.
That's good.
And we need to employ our people in fields where we're not. Because if you look at shipping started since the beginning of time.
Oh, yeah.
Queen Hatshepsut did the first transatlantic voyage to the land of Punt, which is now Somalia.
And you're familiar with the Marcus Garvey
Garvey, absolutely.
transportation.
Absolutely.
Because that's exactly what he was about. He didn't want to work for the man. He said, I'm going to set up shipping for our people because no one was doing it.
Absolutely.
And he was one of the first, how should we say this? I don't want to say millionaire, billionaire, but he was responsible for the growth and economic development of black people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The book On Her Own Ground with Madam C.J. Walker.
Yeah.
Her great-granddaughter, Alila Bundles, wrote her book.
Yeah.
And because her products went around the world.
Yeah.
And in that book, it tells you the history. It chronologically tells you what happened, and it talks about her interaction with Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
That's how her products got around the world.
I have to read that. It's called what?
On Her Own Ground.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful. Do you remember, since you've been with Recycling Block Dollars since the early, Mr. Roby?
Mr. Roby, absolutely.
So, Mr. Roby was one of the first. Him and Frank Dinkins were one of the first members of Recycling Black Dollars and sponsors for Muhammad Nazardine. Mr. Roby had a logistical business.
Yes, he did.
And he used what do you call that ticker take? Before faxes, before any phone, he had a ticker tape machine like they use for the stock market. And he would reach out and he'd tap who needed what. So he'd find Russia needed toilet paper. So he'd go and find the supplier that had that. And then he didn't have any product. He did it all by ticker tape. So that was really the very first person that I ever heard. I mean, he became wealthy.
Absolutely. You can become wealthy. You become a trade agent.
Yeah. That's what he was.
That's what it was. He was a trade agent. And see, that's the first e-commerce. Yeah. These people, they behind the times. If you look at the history, we've already done it. So, in fact, as a member of the LA South Chamber, we have a young entrepreneurs program that we are starting, and you can go online and register, and for the program, and that's you don't need a high school diploma. You don't need college, you don't need a diploma. You can just do that and work that. You can do that part-time while you're going to college.
So you're teaching them how the logistics, the supply chain.
The supply chain, and then just being able to provide a service, provide a product. Like you said, if you need toilet paper, how much toilet paper do you need? You know, I was able to connect with the Ledge Group in Uganda because I now import, fulfill, and distribute Ugandan coffee.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. I was on Facebook, and I was seeing a group of us from the United States that decided, I'm going home. And bamboo, hemp, they're more agriculture. You know, we need to learn to feed ourselves, and that's what Peter Brown, the CEO, always talks about. We need to be able to food, clothing, and shelter. And they would go into Uganda or go into a country, because they're in several countries, Zambia, Senegal, Kenya. And the farmers in Uganda were not getting a fair price for their coffee. So they were letting the coffee die on the vine. They said, we'd rather just let it die before we just give it away. And Peter Brown met a young man from Uganda, and they struck this deal that they would pay the farmers a fair wage for their coffee.
Wow.
And then they needed a roaster. Okay. Then they needed to get it off the continent. So when they got to that point, following them, I'm like, shit.
So you were trolling, waiting for the opening.
Absolutely, waiting for the opening. I said, shit, man, what do we need to do to get it here?
Wow.
And we worked it out, and August of last year, Ugandan coffee, whole beans, raw, touched down at LAX. I took it to my warehouse.
Wow.
Located a roaster. And now we're shipping everything out.
It's great.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
So that's your
amazing.
sub-Saharan. There was I had someone on the show last week. Her name is Queen Vida, and she's from Ghana.
Okay.
And so she's a celebrity vegan chef, and she also does I think she connects people. So she was saying, so we'll have to introduce you, that Ghana has they need us to ship products and services to them, and then they have things that they need to come, to be able to ship out. So she says they're very open, and in fact, their president of the country recognizes that there was some input from Ghana when during the slave trade. So he has offered, put on the table for those that are impacted by slavery and actually were part of the slave trade. They also they are providing citizenship for those that are from Ghana.
Absolutely.
And I'll give you your dual citizenship. So he said that was, I guess, their reparations for what has happened and their apology for what they have done in their contribution. And for anyone that wants to come back to their motherland, the doors are open for them.
It's not only Uganda, it's Zimbabwe
as well.
It's Ethiopia. I hosted the Consulate General representatives last Tuesday.
Okay.
And the workshop was on what it takes to do business in Africa.
Wonderful.
And it was amazing. They want us. It's about bilateral trade. It's just not us going over there thinking that we know everything, because it is not. And everybody, I Love Lucy. Remember when Fred and Ethel and they were opened in the restaurant? Fred and Ethel had the know-how. Ricky and Lucy had the name. They were bilateral. You have to be able to do where your strength is.
Right.
So for me, it's about bilateral trade, because the continent has been taken advantage of. And you have to learn custom. You have to listen. And on last Tuesday, it was phenomenal. In fact, I was able to introduce Mr. Ware to Mr. Peter Brown.
Oh, okay.
Because they have been wanting to break into Ethiopia.
Right.
So on Monday we had that conference call, and it was a match made in the universe.
Wow.
So they're going to be able to get into Ethiopia. Ethiopian coffee is the #1 coffee.
Is that the one that Starbucks uses?
Yeah. But we don't like to mention Starbucks. If we're going to mention anybody, we're going to mention a Hot and Cool Cafe.
Hot and Cool. That's what we're talking about.
That's right. They have.
So that's where they get their coffee from, too.
Yeah. In fact, when you listen to Tony Jolly's background, he used to work for Starbucks. So he was over there in Ethiopia.
So he understands.
And he learned all the tricks of the trade. So
well, that explains a lot about the people. I've met some people there. Quite a few Ethiopians are over there and work with him as well, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, that explains a lot, because I was trying to figure out the correlation.
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. I love that place. I love the vibe in and Hot and Cool. You go in there.
That's different.
That's my place. I used my place on Sorry.
We should do a show over there.
Yeah, actually,
that'd be great.
Yeah,
Dr.
we should do a show.
Well, a couple people. I'm going to sit down with James Burke. We want to do. He wants me to work with them on those that are in the arts and the music and recognizing that they're running a business. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to have a symposium over at Hot and Cool. In addition to the art, there's a lot, it's an artist community. So understanding that it's great from the creative side, but then there's a business side, and you need to be able to make money from your passions. And a lot of them, they're operating from the creative side of the brain and not, and so therefore they don't quite reach the pinnacles in business or in success that they need, far as monetary.
That is very true. Everything can be monetized.
Yes.
And if you look, Crenshaw, it's always been an international area. Mm-hmm. You look on this side of Crenshaw, it's all Africa. A lot of African businesses over here. Mm-hmm. A lot of businesses from Haiti that's here. Mm-hmm. So I look at this area as an international area, and we need to start embracing one another.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Since it's going to be Destination Crenshaw, we have to capitalize on our own culture. You talk about culture vultures. We need to monetize when they're coming over here and sit in the hot and cool and get this feeling.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. So Gilbert and I, we had Al Washington on the show.
Oh yeah, that's my friend. That's my buddy. In fact, I'm the director of logistics for Africa USA.
So we've had him on the show a couple of times, and we've spoken of his, I think there's 30 delegates that he operates with.
Right.
And this is something we've been talking about he's been talking about and doing his conference. And one of the things, remember we talked about the Caribbean diaspora, the one thing that I do know about the islands in Africa, entrepreneurship is part of our ultimate and our unique DNA.
Exactly.
Right? Those of us that were in slavery, there's been some issues there, but ultimately the ones that are first or second generation, they knew when we were emancipated, we couldn't go anywhere and get a job from anybody unless we were going to work. We couldn't go back to the slave master and say, okay, now give me a job, because that wasn't going to happen, right?
Correct.
So, because he was going to exploit you. So they had to create businesses. And then, of course, I think after the many, the obstacles. But I do know in that culture, that's part of any immigrant that's coming from anywhere in the world, being their own boss is paramount to who they are.
This is my take. This is my take only. A disclaimer, this is not the views of Morris Media or the BusinessZone.
Okay.
But what hurt us was integration.
Yes, I am with
integration because, I never had that dream. Everybody talk about the dream. I never had that dream because growing up Central Avenue, I was already in Wakanda. They were not there.
Yeah.
So Wakanda is not a myth. Wakanda is a real place, just like if you grew up in Harlem, just like if you grew up in Atlanta. It's everywhere they weren't.
Who said it's a myth?
That's what the media was saying, that, it's just a myth. They were trying to discredit, it's just a cartoon. No, that wasn't a cartoon.
They're trying to put that out there. But
and I think is what she's basically saying is that, and I too, I grew up, I'm a third generation entrepreneur, so I knew that was ultimately where I was going to end up. My grandparents were entrepreneurs. My 2 or 3, there's about 6 or 7 people in our family that just naturally, that's what we do. My grandfather owned a grocery store. He was a caterer. He was a minister. And then my grandmother, she made quilts and she taught all her children how to sew.
Absolutely.
And then everybody used that as their initial business, the groundwork. My aunt did drapes and interior design, home interior design. My mom was a tailor. And this is something, and I think I've shared it with you. When I look back in my family and their skill sets that we all possess that have moved down generation to generation. So the sewing thing was a major, everybody, my grandmother taught to sew. Everybody sewed. It wasn't 1 or 2, and they all made a living off of it in some way or another. My aunt, she was a home economics teacher, so she taught people how to do it. And then my mom, she made men's clothing, tailoring, and my uncle, he did men's clothing and bathrobes and so forth and so on. So I was talking to them one time, we were in a family meeting, and I said, why is that? And he said, well, it actually came from your grandfather's uncle. He was the tailor for the mob. And because I saw a picture, and I have it, he gave it to me. My uncle gave it to me the other day, and I went, "Wow, my grandfather looks awful dapper," and his brother, and they were all looking like Al Capone. And I'm thinking, he said that's because he actually was the tailor for Al Capone. Wow. I went, okay, but that is the talent that was passed down from generation to generation.
Absolutely, because my grandmother sewed. I still sew today.
Yeah.
I travel with my sewing machine. I've taken my truck. When I lived here and moved to Washington, D.C., my sewing machine went with me.
When my mother left New York.
Absolutely.
Come to think of it, my mom too, she sewed and she used to make dresses for the neighborhood.
Right, exactly.
And I'm going, because first of all, I didn't have confidence. I didn't think she could make good dresses like you could buy in the store. But when I saw the neighbors coming in, they're buying it. Damn, my mom is good. but then I was young, because if I was older, then I could hone in on my skills and say, "Oh, Mom, let me show you how to run this business and get it going."
Right,
but
exactly.
I didn't know then, and you're right. It's an amazing skill that we all have.
Right. My mom, she made so she started early. Like I said, they all did. So my first business, because when I was 7. We had to learn in the summertime when everybody was out playing. We had to. My very first project was a roller bag, and then it moved up from there.
Exactly.
But she and I started little dress businesses. We were making little girl dresses with the pettifollers, and we would sell it to the people at church.
Exactly.
And so that was the beginning of hers. And then she moved up to tailoring men's clothing and wedding dresses, and at one point she was sewing everything. I told her if I stood still long enough, she'd create a cover for me. But she was into that. My grandmother, same thing. Hers was with patchwork and making quilts, and all over the Florence, Alabama, or in Tennessee, her quilts were sought after. My grandfather, on the other hand, he was the caterer. He cooked for everybody. The wealthy people in his, and he got paid for it. Got paid adequately. In fact, when he died, the community, the white and black community, helped my grandmother make sure that all of her kids went through college, and that she never had to want for anything.
But that's but that's us.
That's us.
That's us. We are the creators of everything. And once we recognize that, that's why the Young Entrepreneurs Program is so important.
So the L.A. Chamber has a Young Entrepreneurs Program.
L.A. South
Chamber.
That's the one on in Carson?
Yes, okay. The L.A. South Chamber of Commerce, because I started young. Like I said, you sew. That's what you do. You have the lemonade stands. And our young people now are making soap. Our young people now are making bow ties. Our young people now are authors. And if we're going to come out of the corporate environment, we need to start where you see the talent. We have to develop the talent, because we have given away our intellectual property. And our intellectual property is our creativity. That's where that lies. They take everything we do and they're good at patent. And I try to caution parents that send their children off to Harvard on a free ride. Read the fine print. Everything they create at the Harvards and the Yales, USC stays with them.
Yeah. They own the patent.
They own the patent on everything. Yeah. So HBCUs, where our children, can be nurtured, and that creativity can go back into the community. Because once you're in Harvard, you're in the Greeks, the sororities, whatever, and you get further away from community. That's what I like about our brother Nipsey Hussle.
So how many kids do you have in that Young Entrepreneurs Program?
Well, it's just beginning.
Okay.
And you can go online. And you can register at lasouthchamber.com. We're going to have an orientation next month, and we're just going to pull them in.
What age group?
Starting at age 8.
8 to
21, because we're looking at college.
So it's kind of similar to the program that
Yeah,
Crystal,
I do. I see. I've been teaching.
She's got the nifty program that she does with the Urban League every year.
Yeah,
So
I teach a class every summer for we do it's a 10-day intensive, and we take the curriculum is really for 9 months because it's in the school systems, and we teach it to the kids in 9 days.
Okay.
Or 10 days. Actually, they learn it in 7 days, and then the last 3 days are utilized for pitching their business idea, and then they compete like Shark Tank style, and then the first prize is $750, $500, and $300. So we're generating 50 kids a summer, and then we're extending it this year. We're actually going to extend it to a full year program. We have something special going on right now that it's being funded by Union Bank, and they are the kids are competing for $5,000.
Wonderful.
And they had this is a team effort. They're competing against 9 other schools. Well, actually, 4 schools: Augusta Hawkins, Crenshaw, Dorsey, and there's one other, and then the YWCA over here in Lemert, and the Brotherhood Crusade, and I think they have 2, and View Park, and Vermont Slauson. So we're all developing teams, and then from each group we will take there will be an internal competition, and so we have 2 teams going on. So we will have an internal competition next week, and then the best of the 2 then will go on to compete. And the teams had to be 3 or more, and then they'll split the $5,000, and it's $5,000, and I think the next is 22, and then it drops down to 15, and then I think it drops down to 400 for the 4th place prizes.
I think that's great, because one of the things that, since I am the ambassador for Lemert Park Crenshaw area, it's legal to vend on the streets now.
Yes, it is.
And I'm having a workshop on April 25th at the community room at the mall.
Okay.
Because, see, there's an opportunity for young people to come and learn how to vend. I'm also the assistant coordinator for the Pan-African Art Fest.
Okay.
So every February, when those vendors come in, and being able to take your road show, take you on the road. I have purchased phenomenal artwork from the Capital Jazz Fest.
Wow.
On the East Coast, Midwest or whatever, that's where you have a lot of festivals. You have Essence Festival, and you can go and vend, and it's a very lucrative business. But now that it's legal to vend on the streets of LA, it's a way in which that is done.
And that's excellent. And that's one of the things I was talking to Dr. Frazier about, was that Nipsey Hussle had touched a number of his own, in his own little circle. He touched us because the young man was brilliant. But one of the things I was saying, I'm listening to the interviews, and I'm listening to them on YouTube and on Instagram. So some of them that were hardcore are now ready, and they're hearing what he said. And so this is an opportune time that we need to reach to them. They need steps. They need action items. They need to know. He was a young man that was self-taught, but that doesn't mean everybody is going to go his route. But what you do know is the Nipsey Hussles, and he wasn't the first one. You got all of Ice Cube,
exactly,
LL Cool J, Snoop. They all were able to take that experience and look where they are now. They use their music as that platform to then create the money. But what I loved about Nipsey was he knew how, and he learned it from whoever he was listening to, and I actually hear some of the same people that I follow. But what I was amazed at, when he took that funnel, he had to come up with that money real quick to buy that property, and they're even saying, how do you charge $100 for a hat? But they're paying it over at his spot, and $100 for a T-shirt, whereas people are always saying we don't support our own, or we don't, we're always worried about somebody else's pockets when we go to price our products, right? And we always cheat ourselves. He wasn't worried about that.
If you can spend $200 on some tennis shoes,
Yeah.
I look at this right now in my networking and my quest and who I'm having working with me. You got to be under 45.
Yeah.
Because over 45,
they're not going to
you're stuck on another game.
Yeah.
And it's a new paradigm.
Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We're at the top of the hour. So we're going to pick this up on the other side of the break. So we're at 4:02 right now. You're on the Business Zone with
Crystal,
Gilbert, and
Khalifa Bay.
that's right. That's what we're talking about. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right now. You can tune into the show at 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375. This is the Business Zone. Take a break.
Subcontractors and small businesses are very good at performing their craft. But when it comes to managing their paperwork and efficiently running their business, not so much. That is why Buchanan and Associates, a multiple award-winning supplier diversity business management, technical support, coaching, and compliance firm is here to help you. Buchanan and Associates possesses core competencies in small business paperwork and government compliance, back office management and business support, business infrastructure and organizational development, light rail transportation program management, assisting small businesses in packaging and submitting their minority, woman-owned, and disadvantaged business enterprise certifications. We even match you up with contract opportunities. Buchanan and Associates has delivered more than 7,500 hours of training to subcontractors by preparing them to become business-ready, contract-ready, and bank loan-ready with the ability to quickly access key documents in seconds. Buchanan and Associates help subcontractors accurately prepare, manage, and submit certified payroll, contract compliance, and labor compliance reports to primes so that they can get paid on time without delays. If you need to meet your disadvantaged business or small business enterprise participation goals, Buchanan and Associates can help you. If you need a qualified and experienced firm to oversee your subcontractors so that you can successfully complete your projects, Buchanan and Associates can help you. We help all businesses organize and set up their company the right way so that they can formally pursue contracts. Buchanan and Associates has assisted subcontractors and primes secure more than $90 million in contract awards. What are you waiting for? Contact Buchanan and Associates today, the small business paramedic. Go to www.thebuchanangroup.net and begin saving now.
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Crystal,
Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, and
Khalifa Bay.
our phenomenal guests here in the studios today. And we're talking about some great topics that will help entrepreneurs and small businesses in our community. And you've got some great insights. I'm loving it.
Yeah, before we went back on the air, you're talking about your digital marketing classes.
Yeah.
The strategy that I have come up with, these young people know it. They were born. So to close the gap with the younger people, I suggest, because I'm not going to figure it out.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I get one of them.
Yeah.
I call one of them and say, help me do this.
Right.
And they show me how to do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm going to take it from you too. Oh, and they just...
So
it's done.
you know your lane, so you're staying in your lane and let them stay in their
And
lane.
actually, it's a good way for them because we're, Lowndes and Williams. So we're going to, we're sitting down with him. He's getting ready to do a course over at Compton for young people. So he's been coming to our class and he's just mesmerized how to use all the content that he has as a DJ for all these years and him being the West Coast grandfather hip hop. So we're going to take it there because the other piece to that is we're teaching them, one, how to create multiple streams of income, but at the same time, we're teaching them how to be digital marketers.
Absolutely.
So for the ones that are not entrepreneurial, you don't
Consultancy.
need, you can be a consultant and you can go to work for someone if you learn all the tricks of you understand and you can deliver. So that's what we're going to do. So that's part of the project, the package that he's putting together is we're teaching you for yourself to create multiple streams of income. But in addition to your learning skills that you can then take and go to a junior college and enhance and get your
Exactly.
2-year degree. Because
Exactly.
right now we're talking nano degrees. We're not talking 4 years.
Correct.
We're talking things that can get you moving and making money immediately.
You know, you brought up that point about 4-year degree. I don't want to delve into too deeply, but think about that process. A 4-year, who came up with that concept? You see what I'm saying?
The European.
Yeah,
all
so
they
they
got
can
wanted
get
your
4
money.
years of our money.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because life is a life learning process. Everything we do. So we're going to learn as we go along, but at the same time, why are we paying? Why are we investing for 4 years for that kind of education when we could do it in 2 and then go to work and start learning as we go along?
I'm not trying to send children to work.
You see what? Well, when I say work,
okay.
I'm talking entrepreneurship.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
I'm not trying to send
But
them
listen to this. So, they send you the 4-year degrees, right?
Yeah.
So everybody, whether you agree with it or not, but basically we're selling kids now. If you want to be a professional, a doctor, a lawyer, that's your path, right?
Right.
But what did Kim Kardashian say the other day? She is not going to go to school.
That's what I'm talking
She's going to
about.
study for the bar exam.
Understudy. She's going to shadow a professional, and that's
then
what
she's gonna go take. But who has gone to school for the 4 years and the 3 years?
That's what
and
I'm
got
saying.
$250,000 in
debt.
school loans and debt.
In debt.
And so it's always
it's a
two
part
worlds,
of that
man,
system.
those
That's
two
how that
worlds.
process works. So, I'm.
Okay, I like using our examples. I get Tim. You start off as a video host, you can do what you want to do. Come on, let's just get real about it. Yeah.
But I did go to a coalition.
The opinions on the show.
I know it's not. I
He's
made
just
that
telling you like it is. But I did recently go to a seminar where there's a think tank going on at the Milken Institute, along with the SBA and the junior colleges. Mm-hmm. And so the course now is of action is nano degrees. The faster you can get a 2-year, you can work and make big money in the industry. And get your 2-year degree from a junior college and move on. And then if you want to go back and get further, but at least get the ball running, get started, don't have this large debt that will prevent you from moving forward in life. Yeah. So those are some of the things. But before we wrap up, I want you to tell us about this Community Advantage program and whatever else you got to tell us.
Okay. I'm just going to give this quickly. The LA South Chamber is having how to vend on the streets of LA, Thursday, April 25th, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. It's going to be in the community room, and it's street vending compliance in South LA. Along with that, we'll have information on a program. It's called the Community Advantage Program by the SBA that is perfect for vendors. It's all about cultural tourism. Olympics are coming. We need to start preparing to receive all those tourism dollars that are going to come our way.
That's a very good point. I know you're wrapping up, but I just want to add this. I think we should go around to organizations like hers and start preparing these entrepreneurs for that.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
So let's make it, because I know you have Recycling Black Dollars breakfast every second
Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Let's do that, because we're all talking about the Olympics is coming, but we're doing nothing about it. So let's do that. Let's go to entities like yours and start prepping these entrepreneurs.
That's what we're doing. That's the reason. This is the prep work right here. This is it right here, because we're doing a lot. But we have to be in compliance.
Yes.
Because once we break out, we have to be secure in what we do. You have to get your license.
When is your next event?
Our next event is here April 25th at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza.
Okay.
This is where this event is going to take
and
place.
this is what I wanted. So here's one of the challenges that have gone on in our obstacles in our community is that we're all working for the same cause, but
collaboration,
and we need to start collaborating
instead of doing
so that we're all
Exactly.
doing. Because here's what happened on Crenshaw. Because we all were having this conversation, everybody's working independently of one another.
Yeah.
Then we ended up losing 300 businesses.
Yeah.
Same thing is going on in Inglewood right now,
Yeah.
because everybody's doing everything independently. If we all came together and took sections of the town and preparing people in order to succeed,
Exactly.
then we get more done.
Master plan.
But
Need a
with
master
us
plan.
working independently of one another, really servicing the same people. Because I'm going to tell you guys, I've been teaching in this community for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had students in my class that has been to the SBA, they've been to Vermont Slauson, they've been to the BBA, they've been to Crenshaw Chamber. They have gone through all and they come around to all of our same meetings and our same workshops and our same class with the same information, but they're not activated. So we need to, if this is your area, this is your space, then let's do that. But then let's collaborate and who can take them to the next level and to the next level and to the next level. Then that way they don't have little bits and chunks of information.
They have a comprehensive
They have a comprehensive approach. And like, oh, okay. Then look at, okay, I'm going to now send you over to Vermont Slauson or the
level.
SBA
Absolutely.
because that's where the money is.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And what I have come to find just in my own journey, looking for SBDC that did international trade.
Yeah.
I know what Vermont Slauson does. They're food truck vendors, whatever. So I send my people to Vermont Slauson. You know, if it's a recycling black dollars, if it has to be a fit.
Yeah.
It really has to be a fit because I used to belong to the huge LA chamber. That doesn't benefit me because it's too many people.
Mission is different.
You know, the missions and every organization has their own mission.
Right.
So once we sit down and figure out, okay, I had to go all the way to East LA College to get my certifications.
Which one? Woman owned?
No, certifications for logistics.
Oh, okay.
They had a free program that was sponsored by UPS and East LA College, where I got my certification in logistics and material handling. I'm a material handling specialist.
That's good.
I'm leadership in global trade. So you have to find where your area of interest is. And it may not be here. It may be, and it was a free program. I was like, come on, you guys, come out there, da-da-da-da-da. You know, I'm the only one sitting in the class.
On that April 25th event, do you have space on it for another presenter?
No, because it's only going to be an hour and a half. We could squeeze it in. Who were you thinking about?
Me.
He does certification.
Well, not only that, because you just mentioned getting these businesses understand compliance, what they need, what document, and that's exactly what we need to do. I develop a system that will help these businesses, and that system, it checks off the boxes. So it has all these mandatory documents that you need as a startup or an existing business that many small businesses don't even know about.
Correct.
And then once we do that in the classroom, we check it off. And when we check it off, it highlights. And when it highlights, it says, okay, you've done this. Let's move on to the next one.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
It's paperwork.
That's the kind of thing I want them to know. And then they get a copy of that as their record. So as they go along, they know, okay, I already done that. This is what, and then it gives them a score. So it gives them a score, and that score tell them that, okay, this is what you need to comply. This is where you are.
Exactly.
So as they check off each one, it's bringing up their score. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So
absolutely,
I
let's
would
talk
love
about it,
for
how
us
we
to
can do
set
that.
up a workshop, and I want to do one at Recycling Black Dollars also, because we got to get these businesses. And like you say, the Olympics are coming. We got to get them ready for that.
And each one is like RBD's is a client. You know, we're more matching the people up with whom if you're looking for a business to do business with.
Yeah.
And that's what
B2B.
RBD is
Yeah.
about. That is our whole purpose.
Exactly.
We're a marketing research, a company that brings matching you. We match you. If you're looking for this, you're looking for this person, we can bring you together.
Yeah.
And then the piece that I offer is I'm the only QuickBooks specialist in the city,
Right.
in this area.
And we need to let more people know about
Right,
it.
and so so if you don't have your finances together, then you might as well just close your doors up.
Yeah, but I think the hindrance to that is people, like I said, my background is administration, legal secretary, so I understand
Yeah, you're strong
paperwork.
in that.
Right.
You're
You know,
strong.
but a lot of people are not.
Right.
So if you're not strong in that area as a business owner,
Yeah.
Right.
you have to be able to put that in your budget to have someone else do that for you.
There you
Right,
go.
exactly.
There you
and
go.
that's how you fill in that gap.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to wrap up. It's been wonderful.
I
We're
know,
definitely
I
going to have
love
you
it.
come back. And then let's
Absolutely.
see how we, again, can collaborate on a bigger scale so that we can move our people through stations until
Exactly.
they finally have gotten their graduation papers. We can match the A with B, and it's like, okay, here are your whole clients that need the services that you have.
Absolutely.
And we can get some stuff moving.
Because I like that idea. This is the last thing I'm going to say is that we need to come together with a synopsis of what everything your organization does.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there's a list
Yeah.
so that people can say, okay, I need referral to clients. I know to send them
Right, exactly. And then you move them
and
over.
a food truck vendor. I know that's Vermont Slosson's area. Let's send them over that way.
Right.
So yeah, let's
And then they
make that
need
happen.
loans and so forth.
Exactly.
You go over there, you go to the SBA, which they all work together.
Exactly.
And so they're working
Exactly.
together. We're the
Exactly.
ones that not working together and not prepping these individuals so that they're ready when they get to him. We get to either one of those.
So that starts today. We're not going to ever have this conversation.
we
anymore.
never gonna have this
We're
conversation.
never. I'm
you
not
want
going
to tell them real quickly your number, how to get a hold of you?
Okay, South Los Angeles Logistics, www.logistics.com. Telephone number, area code 310-846-1112. 310-846-1112.
Perfect.
Okay, guys, so you've heard it. She's got an event coming up. I'm going to supply you with the excerpt of your video, and then I'll
Wonderful.
put your information. So if you can send that to me electronically,
I will.
I can make sure that
Excellent.
information's there, and then you can utilize that to market for this class.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was great. You know, we've been hanging a long time in this
Yeah.
And you
community. doing the
didn't know it would
business
be
center.
this great, huh?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be great because it's all about timing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
It's
right.
all about timing, and once you in your flow, it'll just come.
And then
to
we
you.
need to talk about how we can work this whole African diaspora and
Ouch.
expose more people to that.
Absolutely.
So let's do that.
That is our out.
Well,
Good.
the Business Zone loves you, and we really appreciate having you here today. And this is the beginning of our journey together.
Yes.
And all the things that you've talked about on here will be realized. And believe me, Crystal and I, we're going to be following up with you. And I'm very passionate about small business. Very, very and Crystal is too. And what you just said, I'm writing it down because I know I'm going to follow up.
Great.
Getting small businesses ready for the Olympics is really a passion of mine. So
Actually, for the whole everything that's going on
Yeah.
in the next
Because if you-
40 years.
They got to come through here.
Yeah.
They got to come through South LA to get to the airport. They
Oh,
got to
yeah.
come through South LA to go downtown.
yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're
Yes.
going to bring up our next phenomenal because he
Yes.
got some stuff going on
Oh,
in
yes.
the same area.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to see how we're going to close that silo on his side, and we're going to be powerful. That's what we're
Okay.
going to do.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much. And
Thank
so
you.
we'll be right back, guys. This is Crystal from the Business Zone.
And Gilbert Buchanan, your
And-
small business paramedic.
And Khalifa Bay, South LA Logistics.
That's
All
what I'm
righty.
talking.
So
Take
we'll
a break.
see you in a second.
Small businesses spend more than $500 million each year combined trying to find missing or replace missing paperwork. Hey small businesses, are you tired of losing out on business opportunities because your paperwork is not in order? And don't you hate having to register in multiple websites just to find a single procurement opportunity that may not even be worth your time? Well, worry no more. Small Biz Pro is the solution to your problems. Small Biz Pro is an all-in-one cloud-based business management, compliance, and procurement assistance software platform that keeps small businesses organized, contract-ready, bank loan-ready, with quick access to procurement opportunities, as well as market research data. Here are some of the features and benefits that you receive when you use Small Biz Pro to run your business daily. Superior record keeping at your fingertips, back office management and compliance, quick access to bids and procurement opportunities in government databases. It allows you to conduct easy market research and gather industry statistics, government certification preparedness and compliance checklists, easy HR and general operations management functionality, bank loan readiness preparation and cash flow management, certified payroll and labor compliance reporting, business dictionary with defined business terms, a cloud-based business management platform that keeps small businesses organized and ready, even nonprofits, business documents securely stored in the cloud, data fully encrypted and protected by triple firewall reinforcements, on-the-spot document retrieval for quick decision-making, bank-level data security for compliance, document expiration alerts and advanced notifications. It uses security restrictions to block out unauthorized users, and much more. Try it out today for only $5 for the first 30 days. What are you waiting for? Go to www.smallbizpro.net and register now, or your competitors will. Small Biz Pro, keeping small businesses organized, business ready, and contract ready. Subcontractors and small businesses are very good at performing their craft. But when it comes to managing their paperwork and efficiently running their business...
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Krista.
Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today we've got another special guest in the studios. And Crystal, who do we have here?
We have Pastor Edward A. Smith. He's executive director and pastor of Zoe Christian Fellowship of Whittier. He was born in Los Angeles. He is the pastor and CEO of Zoe Christian Fellowship of Whittier, chancellor of the Joseph Business School for Los Angeles region. I had never even heard of that. Founder of Awaken. Oh, okay. Awaken, and Bishop of Zoe Association of Churches and Business. He earned his BA in Applied Mathematics and an MBA in Marketing Finance from UCLA. He is a much sought after speaker for conferences and seminars in the U.S. as well as abroad. He was invited to Russia in 1995 to participate in training the staff of the fourth largest bank in Russia. His speaking ministry engagements have taken him to Japan, Puerto Rico, Guatemala, South Africa, and Brazil. And before full-time ministry, he worked in several marketing executive positions with companies as General Mills, Ford Motor Company, oh, wow, I haven't seen that one in a long one. Carnation Company and Avco Financial Services. His final corporate position was as the Vice President of Marketing for Family Savings Bank in Los Angeles. He is the founder of Zoe School of Economic Development, an entrepreneur course for those seeking to be successful in business, which was featured on Warner Brothers Making It, a program devoted to highlighting the accomplishments of minority entrepreneurs. He led the first South African government-sponsored trip of Black entrepreneurs to South Africa and was spotlighted by CNN headline news for his ministry involvement there. In 2009, he partnered with Pastor Bill Winston of Living Word Christian Center of Illinois to extend the Joseph Business School to the Los Angeles area. And we want to welcome you.
Thank you.
Wow, that's an impressive bio.
With all that amazing introduction, I'm thinking I should be calling you Doctor.
Smith. I'm good.
He said he's good.
Well, welcome to the Business Zone, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
And I should call you Pastor
Smith. Yeah, we're very happy.
I'm good either way.
Yeah, either way. So obviously your origins in business, so everything that we were talking about, and moving it, and I had this conversation with Dr. Frazier as well, is church is the one place that Black people congregate in large numbers, and that is where this training should start.
Yeah, it should be part of it.
It should be part of it. And I know I got my entrepreneur training at First AME Church, and they had a program, and Dr. Murray, Cecil Murray, he was all about that. Murray, he was all during the time when I was a teenager, and so I'm happy to hear that.
Okay.
Because that's been some issues. I just see it. I just see us there, and we're not coming out with applicable skill sets that can help change our, and right now our economic fiber has to change, because we gonna perish if we don't. So welcome to the show, and tell us about your programs and where this passion lies and how we can make some changes.
Well, I used to work down the street at Family Savings Bank as vice president, and I always had a passion for teaching and helping people, and even in business. So it was natural for me, and so I had employees, people in the community coming to my office, and then I said, y'all need to come to my house because y'all messing with my job. And then we moved out of my house and into a facility at a hotel.
Okay.
And then I was called to pastor a church. And so we started the Zoe School of Economic Development. And then I became acquainted with Pastor Bill Winston out of Chicago, which has started the Joseph Business School, and we decided to work together. And so I have a franchise of the Joseph Business School. I've been doing it since 1989. So 98.
Whose idea was it to start that program, and how did it come about?
Well, the Joseph Business School itself was started by Pastor Bill Winston in Chicago, and he's an entrepreneur person as well, businessman at IBM, and wanted to help his people. Myself, I started a similar one, and we just decided to come together rather than be separate. You know, we talk about collaboration. That's really how life needs to operate. And so it was easy for me. And so he had an established program. Mine, I developed on my own, is working well. It was already featured and making it on.
So yours is still existing. It's still going
no,
on?
the Zoe one is not existing. It's existing under the brand name of the Joseph Business School.
Okay. So you guys brought your two together and then created. And so what's the time? I mean, how do you get into the school, and what is the curriculum?
People have to apply. We just finished a mentor-mentee program with the Shark Tank a competition, and it was powerful. We've been doing this since 1998. We graduate people. We have different versions of the program. One is a 9-month program where you work on your business, your vision. We have a shorter version, a module program, and then we have the basically a 6-week program that deals with a mentor-mentee. And we're finding that we're working out really well because people don't have a lot of time. And so we started realizing that people can at least get started, like you said, after class, start working. And but a mentor piece is huge because if you don't see it, like you mentioned about your mom and everybody sold, you got to see it.
You got to see it.
Yeah.
You know, you can sit in class. That's why folk aren't doing nothing. They don't see it. So having mentors, we assign mentors to them. We get people that are successful in the business, and in particular in the area where they want to thrive in and work in. And so that's what we do.
Oh,
it works out really well. And they come out, and it's hard work. I mean, they learn about financial planning and budgeting and cash flow management, marketing and analysis, because those are areas oftentimes we fail in. We have ideas, we got skills, but we can't manage our money and a cash flow. And so you don't have to be an expert in that, but understand how to ask questions, get the right people working with you, help you, and you can go where you need to go.
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
small businesses are good at their craft, but when it comes to managing the business and administering it, that's where the weakness comes in. So I'm just wondering, after they go through your program, what's the next step? What do they do next? I know you said you match them up sometimes with Shark Tank, but what's next?
Well, they start their business. Most people that come to our program don't have a business.
Okay.
We do get people over the years that have had their own business, but we're finding people that just want to get started and they're learning the basics.
Okay.
But people that have a business and they work on a more established business and take it to a whole another level. But it's all about getting started.
Okay.
And that's what they do. They start businesses, and we've had some good success stories.
Okay.
One woman, my wife and I were visiting with her recently, and she started a multi-million-dollar trucking company just with one van. So it was a van company. She's picking up kids, latchkey.
Oh, wow.
Started
That's
out
a
there,
good
and then she
business.
started getting a contract with the local school district and taking kids to the football games and stuff. And
How does one become a mentor in your program?
Well, typically they can ask, but typically, because of our network, we go with the people that we know, and we ask them to be consider being mentors. So we want people that have availability of time. They're in technology. One of our young guys, mentors, he runs a very successful technology company with major contracts, people like Disney and AT&T, and does development. So people that are into software development. He's a good person. He's young. his story is that, he sat home and mom said, get a job, and he sees, boy, when you gonna go out and get you a job? He pulled out a drawer, some checks he had in cash, about $200,000. Wow. Mama got a job already. Shut her up.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, because jobs are not traditional anymore.
Yeah, he was doing it at his desk, in his bedroom. He didn't understand. So it's opportunities like that, restaurant business. We have technology companies, like I mentioned earlier, others that deal with real estate and even international trade.
Now, is there a storefront for your business, this program that you're talking about?
Yeah, our storefront really is our church.
It's at the church?
At the church, because we have almost 5 acres of property in campus there.
And where is it located?
It's in Whittier.
Whittier,
yeah. A few black folk in Whittier.
Yeah, there are some.
The more I'm hearing about this, the more I want to get involved.
Yeah, we need to talk then. That's nice.
Definitely.
In fact, when you and I spoke on the phone, and I was when Don introduced us, and I was telling you that Gilbert, my partner, he specializes in the minority certification for diversity supply goods and so forth, and so he has a program where he teaches them how and what they need to do in order to become certified. He gets them certified, and then they can do business with corporations through the supplier diversity. He has a network. He's worked with Metro.
That's good.
And he has a product called Small Biz Pro. And this is what he was mentioning, Khalifa, is that it tracks them. One, lets them know where they are, and then when it comes time to knowing what documents, in business, you need to be able to produce your P&Ls, and you need to be able to produce your licenses and your insurances. So this kind of houses all that, and it lets them know when things are when their licenses are expiring and they need to renew, and it has a research development piece to it,
and procurement. So if they want to go out for a contract, all the contracting sources is in one place.
That's good.
You got LAX, you have the county, you got the city, you name it. Metro, they're all there. USC, all there. All the
let's talk, because we do seminars and workshops and short classes too, so I'm open to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's, for those that they have those type of businesses that can contract, and we're not represented in those areas.
No.
Usually,
well, part of it is we're underrepresented, but what I'm realizing, black folk are doing stuff most black folk don't even know.
Yeah,
they're under the radar. They're just doing their thing, and so it's learning how to collaborate. It's following your passion and finding the movers and shakers, and then the people that you can work with. But there are people in the South and the East Coast. I mean, I work with people who tend to be collaborators, they're connectors. And so because of that, I'm meeting people all the time and finding out what people are doing. I said, I didn't even heard of you.
Yeah,
and you're doing all this stuff. So I think as people begin to be more open and less fearful, they'll find a connection for what they need.
And that's what I was kind of talking about for far as us creating a resource. So everybody knows what's going on and how to reach and find those individuals. How to find those individuals and be able to get there, right, and know what the criteria are, because we all operate in silos right now.
One of the things I find with people, which we do in our coaching training, is to help people get a clarity of vision. Because once you're clear about what you do and who you are, others can be more clearly about how to partner with you. And so sometimes we say our name of our company and I do X, Y, and Z, but what is your vision? And where you're going and what is your approach
what
to
is
doing
your
it?
mission also?
But the vision describes, it's kind of like if they wrote an article about you 8 years from now, what would they say in detail?
Right, exactly. Yeah, because you really want to know that. I mean, that's even with Nipsey. I mean, I knew what he was doing in the community because I'm part of the community and the advocates of what's going on and encounter on the ground. But there were some things that I was even surprised about. One of the things that people have been talking about was, had he provided for his family, and then to find out the young man had over a $200 million estate, and he had provided for his family.
That's good example.
And so that's, look at James Brown. He died in state, right? He died and so these are grown people that, I mean, people that have been doing business and, you know, over the age of 50 that have died. Look at Prince, all of them.
Yeah.
And they have the money to have that representation, but somebody wasn't doing that. And here this young man who had some interesting beginnings,
Right.
but knew that he had to create and prepare. And I would imagine if he did that whatever he was doing, he's made a way to continue it on, even in his transition, because I can't imagine him doing what he's done and to be so passionate and then to do all that. And so he's made some other ways. We will know in time. Yeah. But those are some of the things that doesn't happen in our community, is that we prepare the legacy for the after.
You know, I know people have issues with the church and stuff, but the reality is God is about family.
Yeah.
And so if we're not committed to family, committed to marriage, long-term, one woman, one man, we don't have the legacy, the pass it on. It takes generations to build wealth.
It takes generations.
And so if we're so quick to leave because you got a problem and do it alone, then our kids are seeing that, and they're out there doing stuff alone, and we keep talking about collaboration, but we got to model that.
Yeah.
We got to model it, and so helping people but Nipsey, he probably saw somebody, or somebody kind of showed him, or he saw it, that I need to take care of my family and do it well. And it's not just about me. I've heard black men talk about, well, I don't need no money with my wife and be with another man in the bed with my wife. You know, all that kind of crazy stuff. But they don't understand legacy.
Right.
And how that rewards you. God rewards you for thinking about legacy. And so, you know, that's my
and it leaves a gap, right?
A big gap.
It leaves a gap, and it leaves a gap not just for the family, but it leaves a gap for the whole community.
There you go.
Because now, if we're not preparing that family when somebody is gone, then somebody is going to miss out, right?
And folks got to chip in and all that stuff.
And so that's some of the issue there.
Before I get to your book,
yes, sir.
I just wanted to say real quickly that I think his grandmother is the one who molded him in that area, and whatever she learned back in the homeland.
Well, actually, it's the father that's from the homeland.
Oh,
it's the father, and there was something that I saw during the service, and I watched the entire service. That there was a point, I think, when the mom had the dad come back in and take his sons to Ethiopia, and I think that was the beginning. Because if you look at the video, that they were showing, you could see he was kind of rebellious. That, you know, why am I having to go do this? Yeah. But I think it was mom's way of getting him out of the murk of stuff and get him to see a different world. Right. So now, go to a third world country and come back to this country and see what you appreciate about
and
this
that's
country.
Usually a good way for people to get different perspective. You remove them from their current environment and you put them in another, then they get to compare and contrast.
And I think that's when the change took place, because he saw, and then in those countries, they are working as entrepreneurs. Like I said, like we just said, in other countries, being an entrepreneur is the fiber of how the country
because they don't have the social society that supports them.
Right, exactly.
Education is not available, so you got to figure it out on your own.
And so when you look at the Hispanic population, when they come over here, what are they doing? They're doing street vending. They're selling on the freeways. They're all of that sort of stuff, and cash adds up when you're a non-brick and mortar, right?
That's right.
But those are the things that, and I heard something the other day that was kind of interesting, because we want to find out, when did this change take place with our children, right? So someone, your colleague, Sarai was saying that our millennials were, when the recession took place, they were young enough, and they were living at home, and they saw their parents go through the loss of their home, the loss of their jobs, the loss of cars, the loss of all the material stuff that they had grown up around. And all of a sudden, mom and dad are stressing and trying to pull ends together. And we've all experienced it from 2008 to probably 2000. I want to say the second term of Obama, when people started to see a turnaround. And I went through it, so I know if I had a family, what that would have looked like, right? Because it was me, I could pivot a lot faster, but I did have to make some major changes. So these kids saw their parents going through this, and all they want now is to be safe.
I understand.
And so for us, the healing of us has to take place.
Well, they have to see something different. I mean, in the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, a black man, very popular book, he talks about how people are marked by what happens in the world.
Yeah.
So like in the Depression era, my wife's father was a Depression child, and he didn't want to buy nothing. He got his car paid for, and then when that broke down, he got the bus. He had all kind of money in the bank, but he's thinking something may happen.
And it's just like with 2008 and 9.
There you go, same kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't want to ever be.
So we have to help people.
Right.
That's where faith comes in. You got to help people think out of the box and follow the dreams. Be prudent, learn from the mistakes. We get that. But if you got to examine where you are, and show them people that in this time they're young folk doing well.
Right.
I mean, they're millennials. This is important. There are millennials doing well and prospering and leading companies. All of them ain't lazy.
No.
Okay, they got to see that. If we don't let them see that, they think then they have friends that that they're not moving forward like they should. So I think part of it is exposure.
I think so.
And especially people that look like us, but people in our generation, is important to see other people that are doing it, other parts of the world. So I just think that to me, the world is available to us.
And I think you're absolutely right. It's the exposure, seeing. That's why it's so important for our youth entrepreneurs.
There you go.
That's helping them see a better world. And it's really good when it's coming from people that have had different life experiences. I know when I teach and I incorporate all my life experiences into that, so that the kids get a feel. And then I have to meet them on their level. Sunday I was meeting with our kids, and they weren't getting excited enough for $5,000. I was like, okay, y'all obviously don't know how much money that is. If somebody was telling me to pitch, I'd tell you I'd be on my head pitching. So y'all don't get the value of $5,000. And they're looking at me like, but then they were coming up with some ideas, but the idea that came up, I could see that it wasn't resonating with them, and they wanted to do T-shirts with messages to help encourage people who were sad and depressed. So we're like, are you sad and depressed? And they're like, no. So how you gonna get that message across? I said, but what are you? They're like, we're stressed out and tired. Well, what makes you stressed out and tired? And so one little girl said, I get up at 4:30 in the morning. I have to get ready. I have to get my brothers ready. I have to fix breakfast. Then we have to be out of the house by 7 o'clock. Then I go to school, and I'm in school from whatever time, from 8 o'clock. I don't leave there to 5 o'clock. I don't get home to 7 o'clock. And I'm like, whoa, I'm tired, and that's your life. So now I get it. So what does that make you feel? And she goes, it makes me want to scream. I said, well, then put that on your shirt.
Yeah.
You can relate to it. It makes me want to scream, and because everybody else is going through the same issues as well. So, but that's an experience, right? I walked them through the experience. So then they were excited. Now they're excited about the $5,000, but they had to get there. So I think you're absolutely right. And our children have kind of lived cloistered lives, whereas our parents allowed us to make some mistakes and see the pain and feel the pain of that, so that you would never do that again.
But life is you have pain in life. I mean, even when you have the so-called ideal situation, pain shows up some kind of way.
It does.
So we have to help our people to learn how to navigate through life, and have realistic expectations. If they manage expectations when they go into new ventures, go into marriage, for example, expect to be perfect all the time, that's naive. So you can prepare people for what's the kind of the roughs and the storms that will happen, and how to navigate and keep their eyes on the prize down the line.
So Pastor Smith, tell us a little bit about the training manual and also that little book right there.
The training manual is our Awaken Life Coach training. It is professional life coach training. We've trained over 500 people in the last 7 years. It is all designed to help people coach others with professional life coaching skills. There's various specific skills designed by and approved by the International Coach Federation. And it helps them. And by the way, coaching is the second fastest growing profession in the world. And so you can coach in almost any category and any area, business coaching, group coaching, or personal individual coaching. But we have, one of the skill sets we use is a ladder of life. And you look at the vision where you want to go. Then you look at what are your core values. Because too often the values don't line up with the vision.
Exactly.
People don't realize they're dysfunctional and confused and separating their own selves. So look at then skill sets.
Yeah.
Sometimes they develop a skill set. So we help them identify themselves and how do they identify themselves is important too. How do they see themselves is huge.
So it's called International Coaching Federation?
That's the one that approves or certifies.
How does one get involved in that?
With Awaken, you can contact us at our website. In fact, we have a training coming up in June. At Awaken, it's AWYKEN, and we spell it differently because it works well for my my website. I spell it spelled with an A, but also the Y.
Awaken.com?
Yes, Awaken. And the Y is about awakening the potential inside of you. And so it's very powerful. We've done training in Brazil. We've done training up in Seattle, Washington. A lot of our training is in the Whittier, where our campus is, where our church, so facilities there, it's easy to use.
Do people have to pay for the
coaching? They pay for it, yeah.
For the coaching?
Yeah, they pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's there's a level 1 training, which is basically introduction training, 3 days. And then professional training is where you have 2 more 3 days. And so we're finishing up another session of professional trainers. And it's very powerful. It helps people unpack what's in them. And then like you were saying earlier, there's a clear pathway and steps, what to do, and you help people get there. Some people are very visual, and people learn differently. And so having someone, and coaching is not giving advice, it's not consulting, and those are other areas that are appropriate. It's asking questions. And when we start asking and answering those questions, then it comes out of us, and we own it. See, if I go to the doctor and he says do this, and then the doctor was bad. Okay, but if I begin to he asks me questions, I begin to find out my habits and why I don't take my medication. Why I don't take what would I feel like when I do get this done? Then think about you seeing yourself accomplishing that. You're gonna get that feeling. What's motivating you? And so help people get off the dime. Sometimes they hear the classes, they don't move forward. So really, it helps them address the fears. It helps them visualize as part of one of our tools. Visualize themselves in the future. One of the things that God told Abraham, he said, look at the north, south, east, and west. As far as you can see, I'll give you. And I always tell people, how far can you see? Can you see beyond 135th Street? Can you see beyond the Pacific Ocean? And if you can't see, you're not getting there.
Now, what if they can't see? What do you do to help them see?
Well, it's good. Part of it is exposure, reading, is visiting, meeting with people, shadowing. I've always hung around people. People would tell me, you're the youngest old person I know. Because I want to be around people I can learn from. You know, it was just my nature. I just did that. I wanted to learn. I don't want to just, stay where I was. So, but classes obviously are valuable. But I can tell you, especially with the entrepreneur that wants to kind of move forward, you got to connect with people who are going in the areas, have done things you would like to do, and going to places you want to go, and just make yourself available and help out. You got to be willing to volunteer your time and help them. And pretty soon, you know what, I want to work with you.
Yeah, and that's how it happens. I mean, that's how we connected. He and I, we were operating in the same space. He doing his specialty, I doing mine. But we observed each other on the outskirts. And then when I was wanting to launch the show, and I'm thinking, okay, who would I like to launch the show with? And then I asked him, and he had asked me to work on a contract with him, and so we developed that relationship, and I handled that. You don't even have to touch base that we got that. We got that relationship solid. And then when I was looking, and I knew that I wanted a show that would deliver messages and information and bring in spectacular people that they don't know even exist in their hemisphere, let alone their neighborhood, but in their hemisphere, period. So I asked him, and he's like, yeah. And then as we're signing the contract, he's saying, you know, my degree is in communications, right? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's good.
You know that I recorded music in Jamaica and I did reggae. No, I know that either, but it's okay because God obviously brought you here so that we could do what
such
we
a time
needed
as this.
at such a time as this. And so, you know, and you asked me earlier, and we've been doing this for, we'll be 3 years in July.
Wonderful.
And even that was I was on. The year before I chose the date for when we were going to launch, I was on Mother Love Show, and you know she's on Talk. She was on Talk LA.
Yeah.
And so one of my friends, you know, set it up, and I went on her show, and I was like, "Oh, I like this. This is kind of cool." Yeah. And so when I was coming home, she said, "What'd you think?" I said, "I like this. I'd like to do this. I think this would be a valuable asset. One to keep Recycling Black Dollars in the limelight, and to brand the services and the people that I know in the community that are doing spectacular stuff." And so she says, "Well, give me a date." And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm driving, and I got another event to go." Yeah. "No, give me a date right now."
She challenged you, yeah.
And she challenged me, and I gave her a date. And she wrote it down, evidently. I didn't even think anything else about it. And then a year later, when we're sitting here trying to decide when we were gonna launch the show, Felicia, who owns the studio, said, "So give me a date." And I'm like, "Well, we probably need 6 weeks, because that's just how my brain. We probably need 6 weeks to do all the marketing and stuff. And it's May, the end of May, and let's give us all of June, and let's just say the first Friday in July." And so we're like, "Okay, that's good." Signed the contract, paid, and did all that stuff, right? So I sent out the flyer after we did everything. Sent out the marketing material, and Barbara called me, and she says, "Do you know what date you told me you wanted to do this?" And I was like, "I don't remember that." She goes, "I wrote it down. It was July 8th.
Wow.
And so I manifested, you know, I put it out there and manifested. And that's what I tell my students all the time. You manifest what you want.
Yeah. But you saw it first.
I saw it. Oh, yeah, I saw it. I saw it.
The scene is huge.
Yeah, I saw it.
The role modeling is huge. It may be a quick one, but all of a sudden it's dropped in your spirit.
Yeah. And that's how I teach. I teach the contract that Gilbert and I have. I teach individuals, young men and women who are on county services, how to become bookkeepers. And so I teach an accounting piece, and then I teach them the tool, which is QuickBooks. And in that 12-week program, it's not just that. I'm teaching them about financial literacy. I'm teaching them to be what type of employee you need to be. Not just be an employee. Think about the bigger picture. This is a sideline gig if you want it.
Right.
And then I think about what your children are going to do. And by the end, these people who may have been on social services all their lives, at the end, they are like, "I'm more than a mom. I can do whatever." And we're really proud of the fact that we have like a 95% higher rate. They get jobs like before they're even out of the class.
So not only does she help to educate them, but she also coaches them. Which is amazing.
Yeah.
You know? So she helps them to realize certain potentials that they had that they didn't even realize they had. Which is amazing. And some of them we had on this show. After they graduated from the program, we brought them on. They were afraid to be on the air. They go, "I don't want to." And then once they come on the show and we interview them and they see it's nothing. They loved it.
Right, exactly. And then they're just better people. And then at graduation, I see the different person, and their children see the different person, and their parents are seeing them graduate from a 12-week program, and then they got a job. And they're going out making, you know, $15, $16, $17 an hour. And then that's just the beginning of it. And there's so much more. They're emancipated when they leave.
Yeah.
And that's what that's what all people need. They need to be given permission to say it's okay. We all have gone through some stuff, but now let's get past that. And let's embrace some new stuff, and let's move on to the next place.
Right. That's good.
So tell us a little bit about that book also. Is that does that work with this training manual?
It works with that training manual, but it's also separate. It's a book I wrote called Fruitfulness, 7 Secrets to Getting More Out of Life.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It talks about some of the laws in life, and biblical laws in particular. But one of them is about when God told Adam, "Be fruitful and multiply." And it goes back to the idea of collaboration. See, I can be fruitful by myself.
Yeah.
And I can work 24 hours a day and not get no sleep and wear myself out.
Right.
And trying to get to this vision God gave me. It's in my heart. But to get where that is, 9 times out of 10, I gotta multiply. I gotta work through somebody else. I gotta build a team. Okay.
You know what's amazing about that statement? Everybody interprets it differently. And I like your interpretation of it because when I was growing up, I only heard of one interpretation. Be fruitful and multiply. Okay, I'm gonna have lots of kids, right? That's not necessarily what it is.
That probably was a context,
right?
But the principle is see, I'm a teaching pastor, so I look at the context, I look at the law and the principle. See, I can if I talk about this in this book, is it a technique or a law? If I take architectural and engineering design and structural design and I learn how to do it building hotels, then that's all I can do. I can't build no bridge.
No, right, because you don't know how to do a hotel.
Yeah, but if I realize that it's a law,
I
can apply the same principles in building bridges now. Okay, and not limit myself. And so, like that fruitful and multiply, just having babies, but it's a law of life. How to get things done.
Oh yeah. So it can be applicable in so many different
areas.
cases. And I love the way you did it because you did it from an entrepreneurial standpoint.
Exactly.
And that's beautiful.
That
is beautiful.
And so it really helps people to think out of the box and to help them look at clear biblical principles that serve across any culture that is work, and then work them. Because they're laws of life, like gravity is a law of life. You can't go if you want it to work for you. You got to work with it.
That's fantastic, definitely. and that's what is needed. That's what we need to heal our communities, and that's what we need to take it to the next level. We have a lot of work to do, and but I think I feel in my core that there's a shift going on. So now we kind of need to send our ambassadors out there and do the healing and doing the experiences and helping people see a vision and a hope and a dream.
But a big piece is love.
And love.
You know, Jesus says, the commandment sum up in love God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. Love your neighbor as yourself. Part of the problem with people, even black people in particular, was not they can't love their neighbor because they don't love themselves.
Right, exactly.
And I grew up in the 60s. I'm 65 years old. I was down here. I seen the National Guards on 110 freeway. Okay, during 1965 riots. I seen all that, and I had self-hatred. Had my afro back in the day. Had some hair. Had dashiki, but I didn't like myself.
Right.
It was the experience and exposure and living poor, and my mom's on welfare and 7 kids and all that, until I began to find out who I really was. And as I began to find out who I was, and in particular, not just as a black man, I value that big time. I have no questions about that. But also what God put in me, my gifts, my talent, my purpose, and accept that. I don't have to be compete nobody, and I can love people. When I'm going to let the love of God flow out of me to other people, you attract people to you. They want to work with you. You're not intimidated. You're not fearful. You can send people afraid when they come to you. They're kind of, just relax. God got you. You're going to be okay.
And that's interesting you said that. I was listening to one of the young friends of Nipsey. He grew up with him, and he was saying the same thing, which you just said. He says, we don't love each other. We don't love ourselves. And he goes, and take a look at our faces. We mean mug. It's just like, we're looking so mean. And he says, start loving. I love flowers. I love trees. And he was ministering on Instagram to his people. He goes, I smile at everything. Folks looking at me, why you smile?
I wave at people.
Because he said, I realized I walked around for years looking mean. And he said, no wonder I was frightening everyone. He said,
and running opportunity away.
Right, running opportunity away. So he says, I'm smiling at everything. I smile, I walk out the house and so he's walking, and it's so funny because he's on his phone walking and talking and recording himself, and I guess the people, and he lives in Irvine, must be thinking he's nuts, and he's like, and he's fussing and he's going on. But it's the message he's delivering to the people that relate to him. So that's why I feel there's a change. They're changing it. They're changing, and they're like, why are we mad at each other? Why are we trying to kill each other? And so I've heard more and more of that on social media with these young men who are out there street warriors, and they're realizing this is not what we need to do. And one of the things they said about Nipsey was he has always, from the age of 8, when he was elementary school, have always been the peacemaker between all of them. And Snoop said to him, man, do you realize that every game set out there likes you? He said, what? He said, every one of them love your music. He says, like me, they love my music. He says, it doesn't matter if it's the Trays or the Crips or the Bloods or whatever. And he says, but then his friend said, yeah, Nips, everybody loves you, and you seem to be able to bring the people together, and they stop arguing and fighting and want to kill each other. So, his thing was, who are you?
He's being authentic, being the real him.
He's being the real him. So, and I think that, on that message, we can close as a people. We have gone through some horrific things then, now, but we need to love each other, and we need to embrace our talents and our skills and our passions, and we need to embrace us as a community.
Right.
And we need to all be involved with changing what is going on in our communities.
I really wish we had a lot more time, Pastor Smith, because
I'll come back
so
later.
much.
Yeah,
yes, we'd love to invite you back.
It was definitely a privilege. We had our Skyper on, but we didn't get to her because I didn't want to stop you because we've been waiting. And I know you go traveling and doing, and this was a good message.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm glad Dawn introduced us.
Yeah,
and,
she's one of our professional life coaches too, by the way.
Yeah, we would definitely want to, whatever you can use from us, from our experiences and from the talents that we have.
We got to stay connected.
Let's stay connected. We're going to stay connected with the ma'am over here with the logistics and Khalifa and
fellow Washington General.
Washington General. And see how we can do business in Africa with our other brothers and sisters and all throughout the Caribbean, the diaspora, because that will change. That will flow money.
Oh, yeah.
Did you want to tell the audience once again how to get a hold of you and where you're located?
I'm on Facebook as Bishop Ed Smith on Facebook. Our office number is 562-9065-5000, 562-9065-5000. Our website for the church is Z as in zebra, C as in cat, F as in Frank.org. And for my life coaching business, it's Awaken, AWYKEN.com.
Perfect. So those of you who have been listening to the show since 3 o'clock today, we had 2 amazing guests on talking about how we can improve our standing in the community, help each other, and get our piece of that economic pie. Really would like you to tune in, and we're here every Friday from 3 to 5 on the Business Zone. You can reach us at morrismedialive.com, and once you do that, or you could go to YouTube and click on Morris Media Live. You'll get us live while we're on the air. Crystal and I, we've been doing this for 3 years, and our 3rd-year anniversary is coming up in July, so we don't know what the celebration is going to be yet, but we're excited about it. And Crystal, do you have a
so I got one quick thing before we come off the air. Recycling Black Dollars. We have a workshop this Thursday. It's part of our the Edge series, which is how we get our funding from Southern California Edison. We're talking about defining and recognizing your value proposition. Is usually my buddy's project over here, but they didn't take it. They gave it to somebody else. They hijacked your program
and gave it to somebody else.
But it's free. We want you as a business. Come on out. It is at the U.S. Bank Community Room right there at Slauson and Crenshaw at 8:30 in the morning. We have a continental breakfast, and there's 4 hours of training. Come out, guys, and learn how and those core skills that will take your business to the line. We want you to make money, so come on out. If you're looking for information, you can find us on our Facebook page, Recycling Black Dollars, my Facebook page, Crystal Mitchell, and as well as the Business Zone. We are all over social media, and you will not have a hard time. And if all else fails, Google one of us, and you'll find us. So,
and on Tuesday, April 23rd, I'll be teaching a workshop for the LA South Chamber of Commerce on Small Biz Pro, how to use Small Biz Pro to run, manage, and operate your business. This is through Virginia Spigner. So we're very excited about it. We really would like all of you to come out. Workshop is free. So, I mean, you don't get the type of knowledge that I teach for free anymore. And we're doing it for free this time. So come on down, learn how to better manage your business, what documents are needed to run your business, and how you can obtain contract with the city, county, and state. So that's on Tuesday, April 23rd at 5:30 p.m. at Vermont Slauson Economic Development Center. That's 1130 West Slauson Street or Avenue? Avenue. And that's off the 110 freeway. And that's what we've got for today.
That's it. So we'll see you guys next Friday at 3 o'clock, live at morrismedialive.com and also live on the Business Zone's Facebook page and my Facebook page. Eventually, we're going to get your Facebook page.
Real soon.
And so we'll see you guys. Have a wonderful Easter. Happy Good Friday and happy Easter. Be safe. And we're out.
We're out.
Peace out.
As a small biz pro, that's how we roll. Using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, that's how we grow. Using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.